Hello everyone, and welcome. In this video we will investigate the recent UFO sightings, and if they could really be a government-organized event to instill fear and confusion among us. To understand how this might be possible, let's first take a look at the Great Moon Hoax of 1835. In a series of articles published in the New York Sun newspaper, it was claimed that life had been discovered on the moon by a team of astronomers. The public was fascinated at the idea of life on our closest celestial neighbor. Blue unicorns were even reported to be seen walking the lunar surface. But the articles were later revealed to be a fabrication, likely perpetrated by a reporter looking to boost circulation for the struggling newspaper. And this was not the first or last instance of media falsehoods, but it is a particularly notable example of the phenomenon. Unfortunately, media magicians have become a prevalent issue in our modern society. For example, it is said that COVID-19 is a hoax created by a select few to control the population. There are also theories that the virus was intentionally released by the Chinese government as a biological weapon, or that it was created by pharmaceutical companies in order to sell vaccines and other treatments. There have been reports of government suppressing or punishing individuals who spoke out about COVID-19. In China, medical professionals who tried to warn the public about the virus were reportedly silenced or punished by the authorities. You may have heard accusations of governments using the pandemic as an excuse to restrict civil liberties or expand government powers. In some countries, emergency powers were used to limit freedom of assembly or expression, leading to concerns about government overreach. There have also been instances where governments have staged events to achieve their goals. The Reichstag fire in 1933 was used by the Nazi Party to pass anti-communist legislation and consolidate their power. The Gulf of Tonkin incident in 1964 was used as a justification for the U.S. to escalate its military involvement in Vietnam. Operation Northwoods in 1962 called for a series of false flag attacks on U.S. soil in order to create public support for a war against Cuba. This is not even the first time an alien invasion was thought to have occurred due to media coverage. Do you recall Orson Welles, the radio host who famously convinced the public that the world was under attack by extraterrestrials, only to later disclose that it was an advertisement for the new book, War of the Worlds? Although it is possible that Orson had no malicious intent, it does make us more wary about what and who we choose to trust. Given all of this, it is important for media consumers to be aware of the potential for false or misleading information and to fact-check sources before accepting claims as true. Especially as we continue to hear about recent UFO events. It is important to be on guard and ask questions before believing what the media tells us during these times. Softened language reporting refers to the practice of using language that downplays or minimizes the impact of false statements made by politicians or other individuals. This can take many forms, such as using euphemisms, indirect language, or making false statements seem less significant than they actually are. A news report might use the phrase, "some people say," when referring to a false claim, rather than stating outright that the claim is false. This can make it seem as though the claim is more legitimate than it actually is, and can contribute to the spread of false information. Another example of softened language reporting is the use of false equivalence, where the media presents two sides of an issue as being equally valid, even when one side is based on false or misleading information. This can give the impression that there is a debate over an issue where there is none. Here are a few quotes I try to remember along this journey that is life. Maybe you too will find a use for them. 1. I trust the government, said no one ever. 2. I trust the government to do the right thing after they've tried everything else. I fully trust the government to do what's best for the government. 4. The government never lies, except when their lips are moving. 5. Trusting the government is like trusting a fox to guard a henhouse. 6. I trust the government as much as I trust a snake in a suit. 7. The government's job is to protect us from the truth. Well, that's all of the energy I have for this topic today. Until next time, please leave a comment, letting me know what you'd like the next video to be about. Thanks for watching. It's only human.